Welcome to the Okay, Let's Learn podcast. This is two podcasts in one. One where we dive into tons of different topics, and another where we dive into tons of great stories and books. My name is Kevin O'Keefe. So today, okay, let's learn all about oregano. Yes, the oregano leaves, the oregano plant. Is it an herb? Is it a spice? What is up with it? We all know it, but do we know enough about it? So let's talk about this interesting spice. And you know what? It's not a spice. It's an herb. Well, first off, it's a plant. Herbs are the green leafy portions of these plants. Spices technically are from other parts of the plant, including the roots of the plant, the bark, the seeds, the fruits, the flowers. It's referred to as a spice because it's in the spice rack. It's there in the spice cabinet, but it technically is not a spice. But what we do know about oregano, and a lot of us have this experience, it adds flavor to any kind of food, specifically and traditionally Italian food like pizza, of course. Those of us, if you've been to a pizza shop, whether it's in Italy, across the world, certainly here in the United States, you sit down just to get a slice of pizza, and what's sitting there on the table, other than maybe the napkins, it's that little stout glass jar. That is the oregano that you can just throw on the top of your pizza, your slice of pizza. It is so iconic, and everyone knows about it because pizza obviously is so popular. Now, to just back up, before we dive into oregano, you may be thinking, what? Herbs, right? And for my younger members of the audience, herbs is spelled Herbs. So some typical herbs that you again will find in your spice cabinet are basil, parsley, rosemary, and mint. And by the way, mint as a word, I have this argument with my friend. He insists that mint is a plant, right? Mint is an herb, and I insist that no, it's a candy. The word mint is used for both, but primarily it is a plant. And spices, typical spices, that come from different parts of the plants, not the leaves, are cinnamon, ginger, and black pepper. I mean, clearly a whole episode can be done on spices and herbs and all the different types, but just know that in terms of the flavor, herbs are typically lighter, spices are typically stronger and more concentrated, and in terms of using herbs, they could be used not just dried, but fresh. But spices are almost always dried out. Now, its scents, it's powerful. If you've ever crushed the dried oregano, take it out of your spice cabinet right now and crush it between your fingers. That scent is really, like I said, intense. The scent really comes from its natural oils. And you can feel that in your fingers when you crush the leaves. And for years, and even still today, it's thought that oregano can have medicinal qualities, which basically makes you feel better, can treat you with certain minor ailments, even sore throats. People say that oregano oil could be helpful in that age. I'm not a doctor. I'm not advocating anything, but just know this is one of the qualities that, again, most herbs and spices can certainly help in different areas other than just flavor. So it began in the Mediterranean, specifically countries like Greece and Italy. And actually, the name oregano comes from the Greek words meaning joy of the mountains. The ancient Greeks were the first one to truly embrace this plant. They just didn't use it in cooking, that they actually thought that it had some symbolic meaning. It was associated with happiness, and it was even used in wedding ceremonies to crown brides and grooms. And after the Greeks, the Romans basically took oregano with them as well. As the Roman Empire expanded, so did oregano. Soldiers and traders carried the herb all over Europe, not just to make the food taste better, but to help with digestion, help with sore throats. And for years, it was just a Europe thing. But eventually, it made its way to the United States, and pizza was the big driver of oregano being famous. Now, pizza originated in Naples, Italy. It was a simple flat bread that was topped with tomatoes, cheese, and yeah, they threw on oregano. Lots of other herbs, but oregano being the most popular. It didn't, here in the United States, it didn't really make its mark until after World War II. American soldiers that were stationed in Italy developed the taste, and sure enough, they brought home with them some of these same flavors, and oregano just took off. Now today, it pretty much comes from all over the world, but primarily still from the Mediterranean in places like Turkey, Greece, and Spain. These particular reasons are fantastic for cultivating this plant because of the perfect combination of the soil, the sun, and the warm temperatures that it thrives in. Yeah, here in the United States, it's also cultivated, made, but mostly in California. And the oregano that's sold, when you go to the grocery store and you pick it up off the shelf, it's mostly imported. And major spice companies like McCormick and Company, they source the oregano out in the world. They dry the leaves and they package them so we can pick them up off of our shelves. Now, I mentioned it's an Italian staple, but all across the food spectrum, you can taste and you can add oregano, whether it's an Italian sauce, whether it's a Greek salad. It goes great with chicken and lamb, roasted vegetables, and certainly it adds flavor to different soups and stews. And it blends well with a lot of different spices. Now let's talk about some of the basics. It typically grows 1 to 2 feet tall. Its width, same thing, only 1 to 2 feet. And the leaves, they're small and they're oval shaped. They're soft, they're a little fuzzy, and obviously they're green. The stems are thin and they're slightly woody, definitely as the plant matures. And the flowers, yes, it's not just green, right? It does produce a flower. And they're pink, purple, white, and they usually bloom in the summertime. It grows low on the ground. It's not tall. And you can easily grow oregano at home. You can plant it in your backyard, garden, on a raised bed, and definitely a pot on your windowsill or out on your patio. It definitely needs at least 6 hours of sun each day. It needs a soil that's well drained, but you could do a good job yourself. Now, obviously, you can buy it in the store, in their spice jars, but you can buy it fresh in the produce section with, usually in these small plastic packs. If you're planting the seeds yourself, like I said, early spring, after the last frost, and you can actually start planting the seeds indoors a few weeks earlier. But the seeds are tiny. They usually begin sprouting in about 1 to 2 weeks, and they grow slowly at first, but that spread out over time. You can usually harvest the plant after it's about 4 to 6 inches tall, and the best flavor definitely comes before it flowers. Usually, again, this will happen late spring through the summer. You snip the stems, and you can use it fresh, but you want to have them dry. You hang them upside down. It's a perennial plant, which means it comes back every year without replanting. In colder climates, it may die back in winter, but regrow back in the spring. But once you plant it, you can have oregano for years coming back and back. And in the wilds, yeah, I mentioned California, but also parts of the Southwest, basically warmer, drier regions. Now, there's also different types of oregano. The Mediterranean oregano is the most common, but Mexican oregano, even though it's similar in name, is actually from a different plant family, and its flavor is like slightly more citrusy, if that's the best way of explaining it. So let's talk about its cost. Oh, for Pete's sakes, it's inexpensive, and especially compared to more exotic spices like saffron and vanilla. But because it's easy to grow and it produces a lot of leaves, it's widely available and definitely affordable. A small jar can last a long time, trust me. I mean, when I pulled it out of my spice cabinet and I'm looking at it, I'm like, ugh, I'm looking for expiration dates, but no. I didn't see one on my jar, but typically you want to keep it only 1 to 3 years. Why? It's not about it being unsafe to eat, but it's about losing its flavor and aroma. So the next time you're cooking up a soup, the next time you're cooking up a nice sauce, the next time you have that slice of pizza, go into that spice rack, go into that spice cabinet, even though it's not a spice, that's what we learned. It's an herb, but still, look for it. If you don't have it, go get it, sprinkle it on that pizza slice, sprinkle it into that sauce, and you will be happy that you did. Friends, thanks for taking this journey with us, learning all about the oregano herb. Reach out to me at kevmok21@gmail.com. We are on Facebook. Okay, let's learn. We are on YouTube. Okay, let's learn. Subscribe, follow, hit that bell so you get notifications. And yes, with the podcast, hit that plus symbol in the top right-hand corner. That will allow you to follow the podcast. You'll get on your phone every new episode. Friends, until next time, have fun and keep learning.